You're listening to the True North Success Podcast. Real stories of personal, professional, and financial wins from Alberta's best. With your hosts, Gary Ma and Amy Kim.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Today, my special guest is Dr. Sam Azer. He is a gynecologist specializing in diagnosing and treating women's health issues related to endometriosis and varicose veins. Dr. Azer is proud to offer EndoSure, which is a revolutionary, non-invasive endometriosis diagnosis tool at the Lynx Clinic in Edmonton. Also at the Lynx Clinic, Dr. Azer provides specialized advanced vein care through minimally invasive techniques using laser treatments. It is my pleasure to have Dr. Sam Azer on the show today. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
So, Dr. Azer, I gave a quick overview of your success, but can you fill in the details of what you do, who you serve, and how long you've been doing this for?
So I've been doing this for a long time. And as you do taking women health for a certain time, I developed there is some area that need more attention, especially the endometriosis. And I started to develop special interest in teenager and adolescent endometriosis because these girls at the age of 12 or 14 that start to have their menstruation and eventually have some pain. And most probably we don't have a diagnosis. And when you have a girl in that age group having pain, she misses school, she misses sports activity with her friend, she feels more isolated. The mother has to leave work and stay with her at home to take care of her. And also the siblings are affected because the parents are not able to take their kids to other activities. So really it affects the whole family. We know that it takes between 5 and 10 years between having symptom to make a diagnosis. Traditionally, and the gold standard has been so far is a laparoscopy. That means putting a camera inside the abdomen and see if you have endometriosis. And usually they appear as black spots or red spots or white spots. And we take a biopsy and we send to the lab and confirm the diagnosis. Or we can have an ultrasound or an MRI. But to be able to see these endometriotic cells in ultrasound, MRI, or laparoscopy, on average, take between 5 and 10 years of symptoms until we reach the diagnosis. And we know also that patients has been sent from one physician to the other because we cannot find a diagnosis. So with the new EndoSure test, basically the endometriotic cell, that means the lining of the uterus cells, travel outside the uterus and settle somewhere else. We have realized that they can go and settle in the bowel very early, and they secrete a certain electric current. And with EndoSure, we were able to apply some electrodes on the abdomen, exactly like doing an electrocardiogram, and we'll be able to measure the activity of these cells and make a diagnosis with an accuracy of 95 to 98% that this particular person have endometriosis. Having the decision or having the diagnosis, it's a big sigh of relief. I had a girl who was 14 years old. She was complaining of pain for 2 years with her mother. And as soon as we made the diagnosis, the patient starts crying because now they know they don't have to wait another 5 years to make a diagnosis. Having said so, there is
Go ahead.
there is a big movement now towards other treatments. So we know from certain studies that vitamin E and vitamin C has been helpful with the endometriotic pain. We know also, based on some of these studies, that low Mediterranean diet and what we call low FODMAP diet, which anti-inflammatory diet, can help also with the pain and inflammatory response with these cells. And there is some new research showing medication such as GLP-1, like Ozempic, everybody knows, on a low dose might help with the anti-inflammatory changes with people with endometriosis. So really, at this point of time, I'm very excited because there is a revolution in terms of women health, in terms of addressing this pain that affect the quality of the life of women, basically, and mainly girls and adolescents. And most of the time, I feel personally very frustrated because patients have been told it's normal to have pain, and I cannot see or accept the idea that having normal and pain in the same sentence next together. It's unacceptable to have some pain, and we should address the pain with this new technology and investigation.
Right. Well, that's a lot, right? Maybe let's step back as to describe what endometriosis is, so that the audience can understand that a little bit more.
Okay, so endometriosis means the lining, the cells of the lining of the uterus, they're really inside the uterus, and the uterus is well equipped to deal with these endometrial cells. For whatever reason, and we don't know exactly why, most probably there must be genetic reasons because it runs in the family. Some people think of an autoimmune disease. We don't know exactly what happens, but these cells travel outside the uterus and eventually they settle somewhere. And when they settle somewhere, these cells contain iron. And when they die, this iron is very toxic to the cell they are because the bowel or the bones or the muscle are not created or are not made to accept these endometrial cells. So these cells go and settle there and they die, and then there is iron released, and iron is very toxic. And we know that endometriosis or these abnormal cells in regular people, the body is able to take care of it and take them out and neutralize them. But for the people who are more prone to develop endometriosis, the body is not able to deal with them, and these cells die. We know these cells also are sensitive to estrogen. They secrete certain estrogen. They irritate the nerve. And there is a recent study to show that even goes to the brain and affect the perception of pain. So people with endometriosis have more pain than other people.
So it's really the uterine cells traveling outside of the uterus and then growing where it's not supposed to be growing.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. And then that causes pain from the cells dying
And the iron release.
and the iron release.
Yeah.
Right. And then so how does EndoSure like how does that help? So what happens
So
there?
So what happens is we know that these cells travel all over the body and they settle in certain places. We
Mm-hmm.
know now that on the left side, the recent studies show on the left side below the belly button, there is more endometriosis. And if they go to the lung, they'll be on the right side. And basically, the EndoSure, we have noticed that these cells secrete a substance called prostaglandin,
Mm-hmm.
and they go to the bowel and basically make the bowel have a different activity. And we were able to measure the electric current that comes from the bowel, the same thing from the heart. And by looking and comparing that, we can tell if patient have endometriosis or not with a 95% accuracy rate
Wow.
even before that we see the scar tissue that we see on laparoscopy, which is the gold standard,
Yeah.
or ultrasound or MRI.
Right. So really this helps diagnose endometriosis very early on and without any operations or procedures.
Exactly. And you're hitting the nail on the head because when we have a diagnosis, number one, women know they have a diagnosis, they feel relieved, they
Mm-hmm.
know they don't have to go in passing the buck from one special to the another, try to find why they have the pain. And
Right.
most probably, we cannot find the pain at this point of time. And that's why patients are told it's normal to have pain, it's normal to have menstrual pain, which is totally unacceptable.
Right. So you also specialize in treating varicose veins. So tell me a little bit more about that.
So I was interested in vein because one woman in three will develop some varicose veins. And I realized there's a new test called endovenous laser ablation. And endovenous laser ablation, again, it's a minimal invasive procedure in which we put the laser fiber inside the vein under ultrasound guidance and basically fire the laser. So when we fire the laser, it raises some heat, and this heat boils the water inside the vein and basically close the vein. And the success rate again of this procedure is around 98, 90. 98% or 95% without making any cut or any stitches. As a matter of fact, we use now the 1940 nanometer wavelength. And to have an idea how the 1940 wavelength, if a parent is using a bike next to his child, so the adult bike has bigger wheels, so the father or the mother makes less movement with the pedal and they can move any further, while the child has a small wheel, he has to put more effort to have the same distance. So with the longer wavelength, the energy is much less. So we can close the vein much easier, less lateral spread and less lateral damage to the heat. So we can go and we call total EVLA. That means we put the laser fiber in more superficial vein and more smaller vein that you're allowed to do in the past with the older 1470 technology.
So maybe explain what varicose veins are.
Okay.
From right from the start, like what
Yeah.
happens, like why is this an issue?
So it's an issue. The best example, if you have water in the basement, you have to look up. So if you look at your heart pumps the blood to your tip of your toe. Then from the tip of your toe, the blood has to come back to your heart. There is no heart in our legs. We have calf muscle that pump on and off. So if you're pumping the muscle, so if you walk in or running or have any activity, the blood goes up. When you're not having any activity, the blood falls down, and there is a valve like a door, one-way valve that allow the blood to go up. For genetic reason, this valve could be damaged, and then the valves get relaxed. So the valve is not able to hold the weight of the blood when you're not moving. So when people ask me, do I have varicose vein? I say it's very simple. If you sit or stand and have some pain, this is varicose vein. If you walk or raise your leg and you have no pain, this is varicose vein. Because when you raise your leg or when you work, you pump the blood up and there is no pressure on your veins. But if you have pain and pressure in your legs and you see these ugly veins, then you have varicose veins. And varicose veins, there is different names we call them. The big veins that I described, we call varicose veins. These small ones, what we call the spider vein, arteriotelangiectasia, or reticular vein. That's the medical term from them. This spider vein or reticular vein, you don't need to put a laser fiber, but very small, but you can close them with foam sclerotherapy with a substance that basically close the vein. But with the bigger vein that's basically supply all the blood to the superficial veins, the endovenous laser ablation is very successful. It's not a surgical procedure, so you walk in, you walk out.
Okay. Are varicose veins, do they typically happen on to women? Or do men get that as
It happens to men and women, but most probably more women, because when women get pregnant, the uterus grows. So the uterus, I use the concept of a fruit, so the uterus become like a watermelon inside your abdomen, putting pressure on your vena cava, the blood that brings the blood from your legs to your heart. And by putting pressure on it, there is more pressure on the vein. And if the valves are not supporting the weight of the blood, then the valve fails, and they fail for genetic reasons, and that's why you develop varicose vein. And that's why you have more. There is hormonal issue too, but generally speaking, I tell people if you don't want to have varicose vein, you have to do three things: change your parents, don't get old, and don't have any children. So.
pretty tough to do that. So like with all of these medical technologies that are moving forward, what kind of sets you apart from the competition? Like what comes easy to you that others might find challenging?
I feel that the paternalistic medicine is gone. Now I feel my job is to explain to the patient what the choices they have, guide them through the decision process, and help them reach a decision they're comfortable with. And I think this is, in my view, this is the new change in medicine in which you are
Hmm.
partner with the patient, we're aligning with the patient. We're not telling patient what to do. We help them reach a decision. There is a lot of information, and unfortunately, a lot of studies show there is misinformation on the internet. And I try to
Hmm.
profile my job is to help the patient reach the right decision based on the right information.
Right. Well, I mean, there's definitely a lot of information that you can get on the internet, and not all of it is good. So you really need to consult a specialist like yourself to get the right information.
I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
have the patient choose really what the best right decision for them. It might be right for your next door neighbor, but not
Right.
maybe right
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. What kind of tips or suggestions would you give someone who wants to be more successful?
So usually, number one, if at the end of the day you have to look at yourself and said, what did I do good today, and
Hmm.
how can I improve? And what did I did bad, and how can I improve? And what lesson I have learned from what I did good and what did bad, or what I failed and what I succeeded. And
Hmm.
failure is not a failure, is not a negative. It's a step in the right direction. And if I do or I make the wrong decision one day, I go back and ask, why did I make the wrong decision? What are the factors, and how can avoid this to be tomorrow a better person? Maybe tomorrow I won't be the best person, but at least I open the door or open the road to go one step at a time. So if we have failure in your life, if you have non-successful events in our life, we should see these as a step forward to learn more and be a better person. And the person who does not fail and who don't make mistakes will never learn. So the mistake is a positive opportunity to learn more. And I think this is guides me through all my life and my career.
Right. I mean, that's fantastic in terms of having that learning opportunity to look at a failure and then learn from it. I mean, that's really important nowadays. So
Yes, because
what's
nobody is successful 100% of the time. We learn from our mistakes.
exactly. What's one of the biggest challenges that you've had to overcome in your career, and how were you able to turn that into a positive?
So I think one of the biggest challenges you can see from my accent, I was not born here. So I have to learn the culture. I have to learn how to deal with people. I have to learn how to establish connection, how to
Hmm.
establish relation. Because when I moved to this country, you know nobody and you're on your own.
Hmm.
And try to establish relation, having network with other people took a lot of time and effort and learning experience.
Yeah.
And I think this was my biggest challenge. And I turned that into my bigger success because now I feel I'm very easy talking to patient or friends or
Right.
colleagues or acquaintances feel very easy listening to me. And also one of the biggest challenge to myself, I learn how to listen and not to talk. And I listen more than I talk. And by listening, you understand. It's very easy that you have the idea and the thought process that you want to talk and explain things to people. But if you listen to them and understand, you can be a better person and help them more. So this was the biggest challenge that I had in my life.
Wow, that's really good information for people who want to grow. Um, and that's definitely important when you can listen and understand someone else's point of view. Yeah.
And also, I learned my other challenge is I will never take no for an answer. So if I get no, I understand why that person have no, what the implication, and how would I change that person mind to a yes. And this also was a quick learning, a long learning experience for me. So
Well, I mean, that's important because, like when you come across difficulties and challenges, and then you get a no, but you know that, it's something that you really want to do, then it's important to keep going, type of thing,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
My understanding is that Thomas Edison, I think when he was looking at creating the light bulb, I mean, he tried 20,000 times.
Yeah.
to that effect. I mean, imagine trying to do something 20,000 times and, failing each time. And then eventually he created the light bulb.
I will call it a learning experience that you build on your mistakes and you avoid them doing next time. And I agree with you. If you never give up, obviously within certain boundaries of different boundaries of ethical boundaries and so on, but you keep on going, obviously you will be successful.
Right,
Never give up.
Yeah. It sounds like things are going really well for you and your business. Healthcare professionals and doctors make very good incomes when they're actively working. The challenge is that when they're not treating patients or actively working, there's no income coming in, right? So that's a bit of a challenge, especially when looking towards the future when they don't want to have to be working so hard for that income. So some of them are looking at different ways to create income and profits outside of work. Things like maybe investing in stocks, bonds, crypto, or using a financial planner or something like that. What are your thoughts about that at ways of creating income outside of your work?
I believe that you do the best what you do, and you're successful in what you do the best, and you're equipped. I'm not equipped for investing or other options, so I use the Alberta Medical Association or the Canadian Medical Association. They have an arm that help us with that. But for me, some people might have more experience and expertise in personal investing. I don't have this set of skills, so I trust other people. And I think part of the success also is know your limitation, know where your strength is. And if you work on your strength, you'll be extremely
Right.
successful. If you work on your weaknesses, you'll be average. So I work on my success and on my strength, and I leave one area I'm average to other people who are more successful, are more knowledgeable than me.
That's a great tip. Like focus on what you're good at and get even better,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Because
Why be? Go ahead.
you cannot be better in what you're average at.
Yeah, why be mediocre?
Exactly.
As we're wrapping up our interview, what kind of exciting plans do you have in the works in the next 6 to 12 months?
I think what's exciting now, I'm learning a lot of AI. I am moving my office to almost AI.
Oh,
So now we're implementing a system in which before the patient will come and see me, the AI will call the patient, take the history, and when the patient come to see me, then I have the history taken already by the AI, and we have all the information and all the
oh, wow.
details from the patient. Also, we're moving the office, all the phone calls, all the letter that come to us are done by
Hmm.
AI, and the AI will screen the letters from the
Hmm.
physician, will send a response, will contact the patient. So I'm very excited to move the clinic to an AI where we're going to be more efficient and more accurate in what we do. So I'm very excited in the next 6 or 12 months. So hopefully, like other clinics, we are going to be AI dependent. There will be
Right.
growing pains, I know that,
Yeah.
but we try to address this issue as they occur.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Dr. Azer, that wraps it up. Thank you so much for your time today and
Thank you
sharing
for the
your
opportunity.
your 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 insights and tips. It was a real pleasure to have you on the show, Dr. Azer. If people want to connect with you, what should they do?
So they can call the Links Clinic
Okay.
here in Edmonton, 780-454-0351, or they contact their family physician to send a referral to us regarding the EndoSure or the endovenous laser ablation. We'll go from there.
Okay. You're also on LinkedIn as
I am
well?
on LinkedIn, and also we have a specific site for endometriosis to discuss all the issues. It's called endosure.info. E-N-D-O-S endosure.info, info.
Right on. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Want to share your success story? Apply to be a guest at truenorthsuccessshow.com/guest. We'd love to hear from you.